Hi, guys. A big congrats on Night in West Texas. It's a thought provoking and deeply harrowing documentary about one man's fight for freedom. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so
I'm so
much.
glad.
Thank you. Thank
Oh,
you.
you're so welcome. Let's begin with you, Miss Deborah. Describe Night in West Texas to our viewers in our own words. Let's begin with that.
Sure. So, Night in West Texas is the story of an indigenous gay man, James Harry Reyos, who was framed for the brutal murder of a Catholic priest in 1981. And it's the story of basically his journey to fight for his name and for his survival.
So take us from the very beginning. What got you interested in making the documentary?
So I received a call from Allison, and she said, I have this case that's really kind of a big legendary case in West Texas. It's a tough case. It's going to be hard to beat. And I'd wonder if you take a look at it. And so I believe what I did is I researched James's case, and I was very sort of struck by just the nuances of his case from the 1980s, how brutal the murder was, how essentially it was a cold case. And additionally, I went to go meet James, and I met him in person, and I just found him to be a remarkable human. And I've thought I would be very lucky to get to tell his story.
Oh, and you, Miss Allison, Deputy Director of the Innocence Project of Texas. First of all, thank you for your passion. I could see it right on the screen. But how did you guys zero in on the innocence of James Harry Reyes? Give us a quick genesis.
So I got a phone call from a friend of mine who I went to law school with, and he is now a prosecutor over in Odessa. And he said, "Hey, we have some what we think is new evidence in this old case, and we don't know what to really do with it from here. Can you help?" And I said, "Can I ever, brother? Let me come in and see. Let me try my hand at this case. This is a case that, like I said, like Deb said, has been kind of well known in West Texas, but then also in the ether of, innocence cases, people who've been wrongly convicted. We just can't quite prove it yet. And James's case is one of those and has been for a very long time. So yeah, whenever I got the phone call, we were off to the races.
Oh, no, Miss Deborah. You know what? By the way, I'm a true crime fan, but I also love, character-driven documentaries. This is both, right? What was your main edict to make sure you tell the story of James Harry Reyes in an accurate way?
That's a great question. I think, staying true to James's sort of journey was going to be the most authentic way to tell it, making sure that James was at the center of the story and spending lots of time with him and embedding with him and watching it all unfold. That to me was going to be the most authentic, and that was sort of my mission is what is James' journey. Now, the sort of keeping reality for James is that he only got one shot at innocence, right? And so the stakes were incredibly high. And I sort of felt like if there was an opportunity for a documentarian to come in and sort of at least shadow the experience, like, you know, I was hoping it would make a difference in his exoneration, and I believe it that it did. And I feel, I also felt really compelled to tell the story from Allison's point of view. Allison's an incredible lawyer, and I wanted to sort of highlight the work that she does. And so, just telling the truth with all the sort of ugliness and beauty that is wrapped up in it, those were my edicts.
What about you, Allison? I mean, what was your intent in joining the documentary? I mean, I love that you came or that you're coming from the place of love, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So it's love and fear, right?
Yeah.
Because I know the reality of getting an exoneration in the state of Texas is almost impossible. And so when I have someone and I know in my core that they are innocent, I am terrified that I'm not going to be able to get them that exoneration. And the reality of it is, and we know that from southwest of Salem, with the San Antonio Four, Deb's other documentary, or one of her other documentaries, that the decision makers, the judges, are watching these, and I think that they think that their demographic, that their voters are watching these. And the reality of it is not that you do what's right based on the law or based on justice. These judges do what they think is going to get them reelected. And so whenever I have one of these cases, I think that not only do I have to meet my legal standards, but I'm also going to have to get public momentum behind it. And so in that sense, I was almost desperate for Deb to take James's case and to get it out there in the limelight. Because I know what it takes to get an exoneration. I think that's one of them. I think that's a big element.
That's true. Now, Deborah, you know what? You guys made me cry, by the way.
Good.
The first time when Allison told James that you didn't do it and he just couldn't help himself and just, I'm like, oh my God. I'm just like, I'm crying on a true crime drama, a true crime documentary.
Yeah. Well, it's those moments are so huge in the life of one man,
Yeah.
and I think so much of like the journey is just this kind of sense of awe. Like, how can one human have just lived so much pain, just so much pain, and when we meet him in the film, he's 66,
Yeah.
and that is a long time to be fighting one thing. And I
Yeah.
just, I guess because one of the sort of prime questions I have in my own life is like, what does it all mean? What are we all doing here? And how has this journey impacted James? And what can we learn, good and bad, about his journey? And so I felt, I mean, look, I'm glad it made you cry because it just says that, it warmed your heart. So thank you for that.
Oh, no, Allison, have you spoken to James now? How is he now?
James is happy. We meet with James. It's either me or the executive director of the Innocence Project of Texas, Mike Ware, who's also in the film. We'll meet with James at least once a month to check in on him to see how he's doing. And he's happy. He's still at the same place, at that same transitional housing facility. I've tried many times to get him out. I have threatened kidnapping him, to take him out of Texas and back home to New Mexico. But at the end of the day, James just says, I'm happy where I am. I'm happy living my life that I'm living. And so I'm happy because James is happy, but he's living his life. He's living what he thinks is his best life.
Oh, I love hearing that. Now, Deborah, Night in West Texas is now being screened in select theaters. What do you ultimately hope for viewers to get after watching the film?
Well, I feel like my job is to tell a story that is as nuanced as it can be, as close to truth as it can be, whatever that means for the person like James or for Allison and what their truths are. But really, I just hope it moves you. I mean, I hope that you are moved, and I hope it sort of, sticks with you in that kind of way. And, I hope you learn something about our justice system.
Oh, and for that, you succeeded wonderfully, Miss Deb. And thank you again, Allison, for your passion. A big, big, big congrats on Night in West Texas again. An eye-opening documentary that everyone must see. Thank you, guys.
You.
Good luck on everything, okay?
Thank you, Manny.
All
Thank
right.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.